All right, so Washington, D.C., home of progressive nut jobs. Well, listen to this story. D.C. is housing the homeless in upscale apartments. It hasn't gone as planned. Okay, I don't understand this. Now, listen to this. So, this is great. Some upscale Art Deco apartment building that's so fancy that it has a lobby with marble floors, a fountain, couches, antique furniture, marble pillars, and it's got homeless people living in it. Well, they're not homeless anymore. They got vouchers. Oh my God. What is this crap? The SWAT team, the overdose, the complaints of pot smoke in the air, and feces in the stairwell. It would be hard to pinpoint a moment when things took a turn for the worse. I bet you could. I bet it would be the very first tenant that moved in with one of these vouchers who had formerly been homeless. At Sedgwick Gardens, even the name is pretentious as fuck. A stately apartment building in Northwest Washington. I would be willing to bet you that this is not the apartment building that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez moved into. Yeah, she loves the poor and the downtrodden so much, just as all socialists do. So much so that she wouldn't want to live anywhere near these fucking people. She wouldn't want to live fucking 5 miles within this garbage building, which didn't used to be a garbage building, but now it's got a bunch of homeless people shooting up in stairwells. So, yeah. Isn't that interesting? They get an apartment with a working toilet and they're still taking dumps in stairwells. What's up with that? But the Art Deco complex, which overlooks Rock Creek Park and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, is today the troubled focus of a debate on housing policy in a city struggling with the twin crisis of homelessness and gentrification. How is gentrification a problem? So gentrification is essentially when people who have, money, moving into an area that's being fixed up and renovated and improved. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Oh, that's a problem because we hate rich people. We don't mind turning our cities into, places that look like they got struck by a nuclear bomb, like fucking Detroit, where if you go even a half mile outside of the city center, it looks like a war zone where nobody lives, with all these empty shells of buildings. Well, these fire-damaged once houses that no longer house anyone. They house rats. So they house something, but not people. Located in the affluent Cleveland Park neighborhood and designed by Mehran Mesrobian. Fuck. I wonder sometimes if some of these pretentious architect fuckers and other artists, they consider themselves artists anyway, I wonder if they give themselves these names. Because this is one pretentious fucking name. Mehran Mesrobian, the pre-war architect behind such Washington landmarks as the Hay Adams Hotel, Sedgwick Gardens was once out of reach for low-income district residents. Yeah. How did it become within reach? Socialism! By the way, there's a movie out there that reminds me. It's called Bulworth. Has Warren Beatty in it as a corrupt politician who decides to, go straight and become good after he decides to kill himself because he's so depressed about being a corrupt politician, and he suddenly decides to become a socialist politician. It's hilarious. It's called Bulworth. If you ain't seen this movie before, you should. And do not embrace socialism. He embraces it. It's a big, big mistake, but it's a hilarious movie. I suggest you watch it if you've never seen it before. Yeah, once out of reach. Yeah, once out of reach. Oh, but now it's not. That changed 2 years ago when D.C.'s housing officials dramatically increased the value of rental subsidies. How did they do that? Your taxes, bitches! The goal was to give tenants who had previously clustered in impoverished, high-crime areas east of the Anacostia River a shot at living in more desirable neighborhoods. Why? Right, this is the magic dirt theory. The one that Democrats believe that if you give people a nice environment, they'll somehow become nice people because, nobody is what they is. Are what they are, right? Nobody is what they are, right? I mean, it's just, oh, no. You're not what you are. You're where you live, right? It's your environment. Everything's environmental. Everything is constructed, right? Nothing is biological. So if we take a bunch of homeless losers who have made the choice of being homeless, and we put them in a nice place, they'll become productive members of society. Really? Did you ever stop to think that the problems they're having aren't because they're homeless, but the problems that they have caused them to be homeless? Oh no, it can't be that. Because, nobody would ever choose to be homeless, right? Wrong. Wrong. Yeah. At Sedgwick Gardens, the effort met with wild success. What does that mean, even? Did these people get jobs? Or when you say wild success, do you just mean you put them in a place and now they're no longer outside? Well, I guess if you qualify that as success, sure. Have a pretty low bar for success. As of February, tenants with city-issued housing vouchers had filled nearly half. Ooh! So instead of being an upscale building now it's public housing. That's great. Have filled nearly half of the buildings, roughly 140 units. You want to know why half of them were empty? It's expensive. But don't worry. If you're homeless, we'll help you live there. We won't help you live there if you're a hard-working American citizen. No. You have to be so down on your fucking luck, you're eating your own feces and babbling to yourself incoherently. Oh, here's a house that costs more than most people can afford. Ooh, I can be crazy indoors. So, mixed income developments aren't rare in the district. Yeah, it'll rub off, right? It's like magic pixie dust. All these rich people are covered in magic pixie dust, and it's going to rub off. If they bump into one of these rich people living in one of these nice apartments, some of that magic fairy dust will sprinkle onto them, and then they'll become productive people too. Where officials often require that new buildings preserve some space for working class residents. Right, working class residents, not broke mofos who have no jobs and were formerly living in a cardboard box behind the down-and-out 7-Eleven that's 25 miles away from this fucking place in the worst part of the city. But the situation at Sedgwick Gardens is different. Many of the new tenants are previously homeless men and women. Yeah, there's a big difference between working class and homeless. Homeless people make $0. $0 bills, yo! Working class people make some money. Homeless men and women who came directly from shelters or the streets. Yeah. Why aren't shelters good enough for these people? And by the way, why do they even deserve shelters? You shouldn't give these people anything. Don't incentivize, don't enable them. Some are still struggling with severe behavioral problems. Great! Give them a nice apartment. That'll solve their mental issues. Even though those mental issues caused them to be in the horrible environment to begin with. Okay. The result has been a high-stakes social experiment. Social experiment. Yeah, they're socialists. Everything's a petri dish for these fucking people. Well, we ruined Russia and 100 other countries. Let's try it again in America. Social experiment that so far has left few of its subjects happy. Police visits to the building have nearly quadrupled since 2016. Some tenants have fled. Nah, really? In February, responding to complaints, the city began staffing the building with social workers at night to deal with problems that arise. Yeah. Let's make the government bigger, right? Now they need to hire more social workers just to deal with the homeless troublemakers in a single building. And that must be great, right? Can you imagine paying rent in this place? How pissed off you must be. I don't know. What I don't get is why people don't get it. Why these bleeding hearts in government, they just can't figure it out. I mean, hello, you can't take a wild animal and put it into a nice domesticated environment and expect it not to tear your fucking throat out when you're sleeping. Maybe not even when you're sleeping. You're watching Wheel of Fortune and you got a fucking lion living in your fucking house that gets hungry. You look pretty good for dinner. I don't understand why people think that changing the environment of people like this is going to change their behavior. Most established tenants contend that they support the goals of the voucher program. Yeah, of course. They don't want to be called racist or classist or whatever, but that it has gone badly awry at Sedgwick Gardens, transforming the building into a dumping ground for people unprepared to live on their own. You think? Oh, boy. That's crazy. Let's see what else. This article is long. Way too long. Oh, my God. It's still going. I'm still scrolling down. All right. So these vouchers can be used for one-bedroom apartments that are starting rent $2,648 a month. According to that's more than most Americans make. Holy shit. No wonder we're in debt. According to Housing Authority documents, at Sedgwick Gardens, the going rate for one-bedroom units was about $2,200 per month in 2017, according to a former tenant who moved in that year without public assistance. Right. Yeah. So they're incentivizing people to be lazy. The worse off you are, the better chance you have of getting a free apartment in this wonderful Art Deco building where people are shooting up and shitting in stairwells. It's crazy. I don't want to read any more of this. This is just amazing to me. So, if you work hard and slave away, you'll get jack shit. Except your salary, right? Which, for most people, will not enable them to be able to afford living in this place. But if you're a homeless bum, come on in! We even have social workers on site to help you. It's insanity. Insanity! I really don't get it. If it was required, and if laws or the bleeding hearts wouldn't let you get away with not helping these people at all, which is what should be the case, I would say give them like a little tiny, like space that they can't stand up. That's maybe 2 feet high. They can crawl in, and there's it's just wide enough for a bed. It's just a bed in a box. That's it. That's what I would give you. And to get out, you have to use your feet to open a latch and kick it open. Then you got to crawl out like a crab. That's what I would give you. I wouldn't give you a fucking apartment worth $2,600 a month. Get the fuck out of here. So retarded. So fucking retarded. Let's help the homeless by moving them into this nice Art Deco building that has productive members of society living in it who are going to move out and go somewhere else because they don't want to live in an apartment building with a bunch of homeless people. They thought they were moving into a nice neighborhood to live with nice, productive people. Yeah, we want to live in a building with people who are similar to us, similar income, similar values, which led to us being able to make these kind of incomes, people who want a better life, a higher quality of life. Now, people who just get shit for free, they don't really need to or want to work to have quality lives. Yeah, that's why they need vouchers and your tax dollars. Unbelievable. Unbelievable to me.